Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Above the Bar podcast, a show about a middle-aged father, current events, and how these things affect my everyday life. Alrighty, folks, welcome to another episode of the Above the Bar podcast. It's your show. It's the sumbitch who can't speak today. It's your host, Shawn. God, I don't know what. Look, there's too many of us. See, I looked at Shawn and then I saw Shawn.
It's my fault. I take the blame.
There was too many, but at least you spell your name right. Today we have with us comedian, author, top 1% of OnlyFan. Another bearded wonder just like myself, Shawn Wickens. Shawn, welcome to the show.
Yay, thanks for being here. Thanks for doing something that I can be at.
I was going to be here either way.
Yeah,
the fact that you bellied up to the bar with us today, that's a bonus. We appreciate that. Good beard. I got it. Maybe this is a Shawn thing. Like yours is like you got the same gray in the middle and then like color going off to the side also.
Yeah.
You know, maybe
I think about dyeing it, but then I also think, well, this is who I am, so why change it? I don't know.
See, I'm the same way. So my wife gets on me all the time about like, you need to dye your beard. And we have a good friend of the show. He owns Phoenix Shaving out in Arizona. And Doug sells like what's the henna? A henna beard dye.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, yeah, you should get this. And I'm like, no. Like, I just can't do it. It's not my thing. I like my beard.
Try it for her birthday, I guess. Maybe. How long does henna last? Maybe like a month?
Do you think? Maybe. I mean, it could be. But it's so I have the coloring like you. So it's like, what do we do with this thing?
Yeah,
So Shawn, let's see, you've got, and you're going to have to explain it to everyone what the 10 best minutes of your life was.
Okay, sure. Start now?
Definitely want to talk about that. But so we're on live. People can see you. Yeah. Just throw that right on out here. Yeah. I mean, but the other thing is I want to talk about bad movies with you. That was, sure. We need to discuss bad movies because I don't know if the Podfather's listening. And for those of you who didn't catch the very beginning of the show, if you notice some things are different, DW and I, because we're on the Earplug Network, he hooked me up, changed some things around for us. We've got the logo's been changed up, the way things are reading. You saw a new show opener. I don't know let's see if I can get this thing working just right here. In a moment, you're going to watch me hurt a child because I'm in the middle of broadcasting, and one of my children decided to turn the lights on in the basement. Okay. You see a little bit of that background there he did for us. So good. We've got her. It does. He can't. Yes. One of my coworkers, Shawn versus Shawn today.
I don't know what it used to look like, so I really can't compare. All I can say is that it looks good as is.
Well, I appreciate that fact. That you like, oh gosh. So we're getting a special guest here in a moment, who you can't get upset at. Do you have any kids, Shawn?
I don't. Thank
goodness. Thank the Lord for you. I've got 8 of them. Come here, Lucas. Wow. Lucas. Why is my lights on? The youngest one, this is Lucas. He's 3. The oldest is 27.
Wow.
Yeah, turn the light off.
Do the 3-year-old and the 27-year-old like hang out often? Like, will the 27-year-old pick him up and take him out for ice cream or anything like that, or not?
No, nobody's taking anyone out. The 27-year-old's out in California. Okay. I do have 3 grandchildren also, though.
Oh, wow. Congrats.
And I got to show
I have a friend my age who has grandkids.
Now, how old are you, Shawn?
He had his first at 17. I'm 44. My cousin just LOL'd. I don't know what she just LOL'd at, but it's nice that people are laughing.
Laughter makes the heart grow fonder. Isn't that what it is or something? So bad movies.
Yes.
Love bad movies. Do you have for you like a top bad movie?
Oh, absolutely. And
What
I would be shocked if you've seen it. It's do you
I'm
know?
listening, Sean, but I
Yeah.
have to let the 3-year-old go pee in the bathroom
Sure.
in the basement because he couldn't use the one upstairs.
I just don't want to interrupt the 3-year-old because I mean, how would I upstage a child? You know.
And that's what they say in acting. You can't, don't children and animals stay away from them.
That's right. I've heard that. So one of my favorite all-time bad movies is Dark Star, directed by John Carpenter. Do you know it?
Why does that sound so familiar to me?
Well, it's his first film, and I think it's a triumph of low-budget sci-fi filmmaking, and it's like a very interesting story. It's the movie opens on 3 people stuck in a spaceship. It's very like submarine living, you know. And we find out that their whole
for those of you who can't see what's going on in the show right now, the 3-year-old locked himself into the bathroom and then yelled for me while he was watching Peppa Pig. Go upstairs. I don't even know it. I've lost all control, folks. This is over. Fucking, we can restart this in a moment.
I mean, I think.
So John Carpenter, Dark Star, 3 people stuck in a spaceship.
Right. And we find out that their mission is they're just flying around randomly in space, blowing up planets. That's it. They're just like, flying around, blowing up planets. And it's a very weird movie. The middle of it, I can't stand the middle of it because it turns into like a weird sort of slapsticky, like I have to feed the alien that lives on the ship. And the alien it's just a puppet of a big giant beach ball with like duck feet. It's very low budget, you know. And it from watching it, I'm like, why is this in the movie? It doesn't belong with anything else. Because the end gets very philosophical, and like they have to, the captain of the ship has to reason with this artificially intelligent bomb that wants to blow up in the ship, and they start talking about the nature of reality. It's just so bizarre. And in the middle of it, it's just like you have to feed the alien, and it turns into this like. Anyway, it doesn't belong there because in reading about this film, it was like an hour-long thing, and then they got a distribution deal, and so they had to pad the middle of it with extra stuff. But it's very weird, and you know, it's very John Carpenter. Oh, and it was written by the guy who wrote Alien.
Oh, really?
So he wrote this movie, and he was like, it was kind of a dud. You know,
so it's like the Twins version, like Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger in Twins. Aliens is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Dark Star is Danny DeVito.
Right. But this movie was a bomb, and then he was just like, I still like the idea of aliens on a spaceship. So he was like, I should rewrite it as a horror film. So that's where Alien came from. So Dark Star is my favorite, and I've had movie nights before where I invite people over to watch it, and it's never well received.
Like, do people stay for the whole thing, or are they like, Sean, this is bullshit. Why are you making us watch this? So
they like, I've introduced it before that of like, I really like this movie, and people will start making fun of it, and I'm like, no, just watch it. It's a good movie. When we're done, I'll have you. You can find the intro of the movie online on YouTube.
Okay.
And the introductory song is one of the best. It's like one of the best openings of any movie I've seen. The song
is it like at least somebody? Is it somebody that's like famous that did the opening?
I think well the opening song is a country song, I think, written by John Carpenter, and it's a great song.
John Carpenter wrote country music?
I think so, yeah.
All right, so I just pulled it up. Dark Star film. Let's see if we can find the video. Sure. I found the trailer, 1974.
The trailer's all right.
So let's see, opening.
But my love for bad movies, I think it came from. I'm sure you remember watching Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Oh yeah. Because I'm 44 also.
Oh, okay, yeah. So when I first saw that, I can remember where I was the first time I saw Mystery Science Theater, and I was at a friend's house we were just hanging out watching TV, and the dad was flipping around, and we were all like, "What is this?" And my parents even came to pick me up, and like everybody just huddled around the TV watching that. Like I couldn't believe that they were doing this to move. Like it was TV shitting on movies.
Yes,
it was very astounding to me that was happening. I thought it was very just clever. Like what a brilliant way to create pop culture. Just sort of like live commentary about other pop culture. It was brilliant.
I love it.
Yeah. So I think
we have a film festival for this too, right?
Yeah, my friend Star Kendall and I, years ago we started the Bad Film Fest, which is really more about people submit their own sort of bad low budget films. We don't have the money to screen expensive.
Okay, so it's not like is it everybody like with their phone like check out my bad movie?
No, we have like a screen and like a projector. It's like a real thing.
It's reel to reel.
We haven't had any of that.
How great would that be? Somebody actually goes old school, reel to reel.
We've had people submit stuff that was shot on film, but we haven't projected in film. Maybe one day.
So you talk about that genre of the sci-fi bad movie. It must be our age, because I'm with you 100%.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever seen Ice Pirates?
I've seen it once. I've seen it as an adult. I never saw it as a kid.
Oh, I watched it as a kid. It was one of these ones that used to come up with Up All Night with Rhonda.
Oh yeah, I didn't have cable until the 9th grade, so I missed out on some stuff. But when I was in grade school, I had heard about Ice Pirates. It was all about like what was I able to find on VHS when I was a kid. That was pretty much what I. And I can remember a friend who had cable saw Ice Pirates, and he told all of us friends. He told us the whole movie.
So you didn't need to see it.
So we didn't need to see it. Like, isn't there like a joke about like an alien called a hemorrhoid or something like that?
No, it's herpes. Space herpes. Right. Space herpes. And it comes out of like this shell, and it's got like a face and teeth, and it's space herpes. Yeah.
So yeah, I had a friend who told for me the whole plot of Ice Pirates and told us not to watch it. He tried to tell us what the whole movie is about, and then was just like, it's not good.
Yeah, don't watch this movie. Let me tell you all about it. It's just as shitty as they come. Right. Well, I wish the Podfather was around right now. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten on here. So we have a great debate. The Podfather is DW. I love the Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds.
Okay,
I love that movie.
Yeah.
You haven't seen it?
I bet he's funny in it. I bet
he is.
Yeah.
He gives and he's not the bad part of the movie. Like, he doesn't do a horrible Hal Jordan. Yeah. You have great outer space scenes with doggone Sinestro is still a Green Lantern before he switches to being a Yellow Lantern. It's all there. It's like everything. You know where it sucks is what the hell is his name? Bull Durham. He was the pitcher.
Oh yeah. He was in Jacob's Ladder. He was in Shawshank Redemption. He's tall.
Yes.
He married to Susan Sarandon.
Exactly. So we've named everything about this guy's life except for his effing name, Tim Robbins. So Tim Robbins is in the movie. Tim Robbins seems like this actor that they were like, we're going to shoehorn this guy into this thing so that at a minimum, there'll at least be somebody everybody knows.
Oh, wow.
And I swear to you, the rest of it, though, like they even end the movie. You know how like Marvel does this great job of ending all their movies where you're like, yeah, that movie was decent. It was all right. I liked it. And then like the last 5 minutes is this scene where you're like, son of a bitch. They just named whoever. And you're like, I can't believe it.
It's Thanos.
Hold on. Yeah. You're not utilizing your new BSC. Yes. All right. Herb, I don't know. Let's see if we can do this. There we go. I fixed it. There we go. I didn't realize that was an option. See, that Herb is the Podfather. That you can see his finger sticking out. That's him yelling at me.
Oh, okay.
So now I realized what he wanted me to do. I didn't realize it. I was using the wrong one.
What does BSC stand for?
That's the background. So you have so this is all through StreamYard. If you're not using StreamYard, I'll send you a link to it. It's great. You have this background. We're broadcasting right now to YouTube, Facebook. They have a version where you can YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, Periscope, which is going away. I just found that out. Periscope ends in March. That website's being shut down. There we go. He's happy with me again. Keep me on the network. But him and I have this great debate about the Green Lantern movie. Yeah. And the end of the Green Lantern movie has the most amazing scene.
I wish I had an opinion.
I wish you did too. I was really hoping you did. Because the ending scene of this movie, look, see, here he goes. He's starting already. The ending scene of this movie is Sinestro standing in front of the Guardians and going, let me tell you about this yellow energy and how we could use that. And you're like, son of a bitch, the next movie, Sinestro's a yellow lantern. And you're like, yeah. And then they just disappeared. We're not going to do nothing with this. I love movie. I'm all about the bad movie. All about it, So,
well, that sounds like a movie that you like because it's good. What are some of your bad movies that you enjoy?
So I definitely think just off the cuff bad movies. And look, folks, as we're going through, it's not horrible. Herb, get over it. All right, so folks, as you're for all 4 of my listeners or 5 today. Tell us what your favorite bad movies are. Let us know. We're going to get into some places where we can find Shawn if you want to see his stand-up, things of that nature. GL is not a bad movie. But I think I can sit down and watch the original Tremors. Bruce Campbell. I love Bruce Campbell. The original Tremors to me is a bad movie. There's nothing good about that. And
I've actually only seen that once, and I saw it for the first time within the last 2 years. And the enjoyable thing about that movie is that it looks like Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward are having a blast making the movie.
Fred Ward just needs to stay as Major Dad. He's Major Dad. Come on. That's all he is.
He's not Remo Williams?
Was he? No, he wasn't Remo, was he?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I realized he was Remo Williams.
Yeah.
Tremors is not better. Look, listen to me, Herb. Tremors is not better than GL. Tremors is so bad.
I've heard that Kevin Bacon has said that Tremors was the most fun he's ever had making a movie. So it's his Slapshot. Paul Newman said Slapshot was the best time he's ever had making a movie, which is a great, hilarious movie.
The twins.
How hilarious Slapshot is. It's the best. It's in the top 5 sports movies of all time.
I would agree with you there. Absolutely. Yeah. And if you've never seen Slapshot, folks, worth it to go check it out. What is it? You have the twin brothers.
Triplets, I think.
Are they triplets? Yes.
McKenzie brothers, I think.
No, the McKenzie brothers is Strange Brew.
Oh, yeah.
Which is that's an example of a bad movie so here's one. So in our age group wheelhouse, Tom Cujo is Tom, good friend of mine. He brought this one up. The Star Wars Holiday Special is better than GL. I will unfriend you. I will delete you out of my phone and block you from life.
It's got that kick-ass Boba Fett cartoon. We can give it that.
Which is the first ever appearance of Boba Fett is that cartoon. I watched that. I didn't see it when it originally came out.
I don't think I did.
When I was in the Marine Corps, I had a captain that I worked with who was such a Star Wars fan. He had a Star Wars clock that had the weird like dots that would bounce around that were supposed to be the time. He was and he had a
sounds like a nerd.
Oh, completely. Love the guy.
Yeah.
He had a VHS copy that he recorded. And I'll never forget this. He recorded it on VHS as a kid in like a thunderstorm in Chicago where he was from.
Oh, wow.
And then transferred it to DVD and had given me a copy of it. And we watched it. Like you could see like it must have been like when the thunder was and the lightning was hitting, like you could see it like it's the Hanson brothers. Tim, superfan Tim. It's the Hanson brothers in Slapshot.
Good work, Tim.
We have a lot of good researchers, but GL is a good movie. But like I think Maximum Overdrive. Like, have you ever watched Maximum Overdrive?
Maximum Overdrive is amongst I have a genre of films that I like that we can talk about bad films, and it's things on Earth going awry because Earth passes through a tail of a comet or a comet. So we have Maximum Overdrive. I put Life Force in there because
Life Force. I've never seen that.
Life Force is a British film, sci-fi movie. It's about space vampires. I think it's based on a book called Space Vampires. But they find a spaceship goes to research like this comet, catches up with the comet and finds that there's a spaceship within the tail of the comet or something like that. And they go on board and they find these cocoons and they take them back to Earth. But on the way, they hatch into space vampires.
Yes.
And they're shapeshifters, and they get to modern day England, and they suck the life force out of people, and it's very bizarre.
Down.
So
I'm so down for every bit of this.
Put that in there with Maximum Overdrive, and then Night of the Comet is my other. Yeah.
Is Night of the Comet not one of the Night of the Comet?
Yeah.
I remember watching that on VHS as soon as it came out. Because let's see how good I am with Night of the Comet. The older sister slept with the guy in the movie projector room that was lead line. That's why she didn't get turned.
That's right.
But he ended up getting eaten by the black guy as soon as he came out. Then there was the other sister. I don't remember what the blonde sister.
I think she was at the parents were throwing a house party because it was New Year's Eve too, I think. And I think she slept in like the tool shed or something like that.
But
or the garage.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that movie. And is that not, again, I think ending scenes can really make a movie.
Mm-hmm.
The ending scene of that movie where the guy's blowing past all the red lights in in like a Mustang or something like that. And then the blonde just like randomly jumps in the car. And all I could think to myself as a kid, I was like, oh, that's cool. He can run red lights. Who cares?
Yeah.
And as I got older, I was like, you can still be a dork and with a hot car, get the good looking blonde.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like
it really felt like it would be fun to be kind of like stranded in a city by yourself and to have the run of, to become a king.
It was all theirs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. See, I love apocalypse movies. Mm-hmm. There's so many that I've watched. And now I think about it. So DW and I were going to put together a movie watch party for Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever come up this way, and are doing any shows, do you ever get up into the Albany area to do shows?
I've been to Rochester several times. I've been to Buffalo. I've not been to Albany yet, but I mean, it's on the way.
It's on the way.
Yeah.
So we'll have to figure out a way. We'll get you into the parent studios over in the Earplug Network. Get you over there. Since you've never seen the movie, we can do like an entire watch group. And you can watch it for the first time and we can get your opinion right then.
I will save it until I can make it up to Albany. You have my word.
It may be years from now, but we're going to make this happen.
Yeah.
So we know you love bad movies. My favorite are apocalypse movies.
Yeah.
Look, Look at my shirt. Like,
I love good movies too. I like to remind people that I like good, sort of like interesting foreign films, but I like the whole spectrum. You know what I mean? I think to love movies and not appreciate bad films is in some ways to deny the magic of filmmaking. You know, like it's like Jaws is a good movie because they underutilize what was a broken prop. You know what I mean? Like we hardly see the shark in the movie because the prop was unavailable to film. You know what I mean? And but then to see a horror film that was shot with a couple of friends and it maybe cost them $30,000. It's fun to see the shitty monster that they create. You know what I mean? Like it's all, all a challenge, and like the completion of any film is a triumph. And I mean, there's bad films that are enjoyable, and then there's bad films that are like, I never want to watch that again. You know what I mean? So there's bad movies that are trying to be good and they suck. I would rather watch a shitty movie that knows it's shitty and they're doing the best they can. Like that's what I would rather see, you know.
Oh, that's a great movie. They Live. I love They Live with Roddy Piper.
I got a They Live t-shirt somewhere around here. It might be dirty, but I love They Live as well.
I think that is a great movie. Good pull, Tim. See, that's one of those movies that when you watch it, it makes you walk around the rest of the day going,
yeah,
you're an alien, aren't you? You son of a bitch.
And Roddy Piper is a good actor. I mean, he's good.
I like Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
You know, he could cut a promo. He could definitely do that.
Yeah, definitely.
South Park then recreated the fight scene. I haven't seen that. Have you seen that? A South Park recreation of They Live fight scene?
I haven't. The weird thing about South Park is that, you know, when it came out, I was like, wow, this cartoon is great. It's so hilarious. And then it was just like always there.
Yes.
It went on for so long. It just felt like, why do I need to watch it? Because it's just sort of, it exists. You know what I mean? Because it was like always there.
Well, have you ever watched the original Jesus versus Santa Claus South Park?
I have seen that. Yeah. That like 4 minutes short or whatever. Yeah.
Yes. Jesus versus Santa Claus South Park. If you want to go ahead and upset your grandmother, folks, go ahead and play that on Christmas morning. See how that one goes over. See how grandma feels about you playing Jesus versus Santa Claus in South Park. It's a whole separate animal.
See, it's a triumph of low budget animation, and it an empire. It's, you know, it's an impressive. It shows that when you're doing any kind of creativity, filmmaking, comedy, whatever, it's like you have to be bad at it before you can be better.
I will agree with that. You know, well, you know, I think I'm like most kids. So when we were growing up, my best friend was a kid named Jamie Pizzini. I ended up as he was the very Italian last name and very Italian looking kid. Mm-hmm. I was the very Irish name, Italian kid.
Right.
So my grandmother's the first person in our family born in the U.S. from Sicily.
Oh, congrats.
Yes. With a name like Sean Patrick Murphy. Figure that shit out. Like, I do 23andMe and it looks at me and goes, seriously? Like, seriously. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. But we made films as kids. Mm-hmm. We had a camcorder, little 8mm camcorder or VHS, and we used to make films as kids. It was a blast. I think that's kind of stuck with me as an adult and why I enjoy doing this.
Oh, yeah.
But because it's kind of like getting that ability. And now the reality is, you know, this conversation we're having, we are in no way, shape, or form would we ever probably bump into each other. The probably chances of that are slim. And do you go to Comic-Con? Let's ask that question.
Oh, here in New York?
Yes.
I live a block away from the Javits Center.
No shit.
Yeah. And Comic-Con,
I work for Amtrak. I'll have to stop by the house.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Comic-Con is exciting because it's fun to just see the streets filled with costumes. You know what I mean? It's like a fun event. And do I go to Comic-Con? In some ways, it's too crowded for me, and it's also I don't need to pay to go into something than to buy more stuff. But I found out that since I live so close, I can very easily walk in there without ever paying. I've been there several times and I've never paid to go.
Hold on.
Friends of mine are get very angry when I tell them that. I'm like, I never pay. I just walk in.
Hold on. I travel my ass from Albany down there.
Yeah.
I sit on my phone for when tickets go on sale, like a friggin' crazy person. Like I'm in this. If you don't know what a virtual line is, folks, it's the internet's version of hell.
Yeah.
It's the internet's version of the DMV, where they like put you in this virtual line and your number just ticks away. Hopefully, at some point in time, you're going to get a chance to like buy a ticket.
It makes sense though, because you are coming from so far away. It's like you have to guarantee that you can get there. I can walk a block, and if I don't get in, I'm not that upset. So it does make. I feel like it make. Don't feel bad for spending money. Is what I say.
But like at some point, because I don't want you to give away your secret. Not that anyone's listening, but like, what is the secret? Ken, if you're listening, Ken's my best friend that we go to these shows together. Please tell me your secret to sneaking into NYCC.
So the first time, there's some backstory. And it's that when I was growing up, when I was in college in my 20s, I lived in Cleveland, Ohio, and I was going to school there. And I was listening to a lot of college radio, because it was like interesting music, interesting shows, and then they would give away tickets to see bands coming through, and sometimes like big bands playing like a 400-seat theater, but sometimes it was just like bands playing at a bar. It was like tickets were $10 to get in, and I would win tickets a lot to go see shows. And it was just a fun sort of like, this is a chance meeting. It was like cool to see bands that I wouldn't have normally gotten exposed to. And one time when I went to see a show that I had won tickets to, I walked up to the door and I was like, yeah, my name is on the list for WCSB 98.3. And he was like, oh, they forgot to fax us our winners list. What's your name? And then he just wrote my name down. And then I got in. Now I was a legitimate winner, but I found a loophole to get in. So for like 2 years, whenever I wanted to go see a show, I would just go to a bar and I'd say, hey, I'm on the list for, I would say the name of some college radio station. And they would say, I don't see you on here. And I'd be like, I don't know what to tell you. I definitely won. They told me to come here. And then they would write down my name and let me in. So that empowered me for years to think like it's easy to get into places when you just have the will and drive and determination to do it. So the first year I decided to walk into Comic-Con, there's streams of people walking by with costumes. It's very exciting. Right. And I did own a gorilla suit, which is another story.
I was about to say, why do we just randomly own a gorilla suit, Shawn? What's going on here?
It was a graduation gift for myself. I thought it would just be fun to own a gorilla suit. I found one on eBay for $100. But so I had this gorilla suit, and I had like a red sheet, like a red towel that looked like a cape. So I just dressed up in a gorilla suit, put on a red cape. I'm dressed as nobody. I'm just a gorilla suit wearing a cape. And I walked right past security. Nobody's ever stopped me. So the next year I was like, I guess I don't have to try so hard on a costume. I just threw something together. I just wear a mask or something like that. And that worked. And since then, whenever I want to go, I always go on Sundays. It's the last day.
Right. Last day. Everybody's tired.
Yeah.
Everybody's give a shit is broken.
I just walk through.
We got a late entry into the bad movies that I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
I don't know. Can you see it on your screen?
Yeah, my sister just watched this for the first time because her husband grew up with that movie and loved it. I've also never seen this movie.
What? Oh, you gotta watch. Like, so we're the same age group. We were body shamed by this show.
Yeah.
Look. I just had this conversation with somebody the other day. Ladies, please don't be mad at me. But as a guy who spent 20 years in the Marine Corps working out all the time, trying to stay in shape, never, unless I was anabolically done, chemically enhanced, was I ever going to look like He-Man. And I was told the only way to be a hero in the world was to look like this dude. Masters of the Universe, Dolph Lundgren, is so bad. So effing bad.
And Frank Langella's favorite movie making experience, from what I've read. That was his favorite movie to make.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Because it was something that he's like a prolific, respected stage and screen actor. And he was like, I never get to play somebody like this.
Oh, God. It was so bad.
I might watch it. I know it's available on streaming. My sister said it's horrible.
Bro.
And I was like, I should see it then. I'll blow your mind. I'll blow your mind a little bit more, Shawn. I've never seen the Garbage Pail Kids movie. And I've never seen Troll 2.
I've never seen that.
But I'm seeing both of them this Sunday because a friend of mine down in Toms River, New Jersey, rented out a movie theater and he's going to screen both of those.
Bro.
Shout out to Bill Suter.
What's the name of the theater? Say it again.
Oh, I don't know the theater, but Bill Suter is my friend. Bill is the guy who's renting it. He's a Navyman.
Oh, well, you know what Navy stands for, right?
I'm sure it's something disparaging, but I'll let you tell me.
Never again volunteer yourself.
Yeah.
Well, and when you ask him if he's ever hot racked before.
I will, yeah.
Be like, Bill, have you ever hot racked before? He's going to look at you with a dirty look.
He's going to say, did Marine ask you to ask me that?
Yes. He probably asked you if I was eating Crayolas at the time, but, yeah, it's, Frank Langella was Skeletor.
Yeah.
Yep. If you've never seen great story. So as a kid, my parents owned a liquor store and they owned a bar.
Oh.
And we used to go to.
That had been great when you were older.
Well, by the time I was 11, they had sold it. But so the liquor store we had a little candy counter, like Snickers bars and whatever. But on the top shelf, I got my dad. I was like, Dad, you have to have Garbage Pail Kids, and he was like, I ain't buying this shit. I'm like, right. Dad, you have to have. So he finally bought them. And the other kids in the neighborhood would come and just blow through these things. And just.
Oh, yeah. I did that. I remember. Yeah.
And they were just the best. But my wife, God, saying this shit makes me feel. My wife and my son and my grandkids and I were in the mall. And FYE had like Garbage Pail Kid stuff.
Right.
And that movie, though, for as bad of a movie as it is, it's still touching.
Oh, good. That's
like you're gonna watch it and you're gonna remember my words. You're gonna be like, there's gonna be scenes where you're like, this is there's an element to it that you almost go, why didn't I get a sequel?
Yeah.
Why didn't I get a? Yeah,
I like disarming moments like that. I'm looking forward to it. But so my friend Bill just it was my birthday yesterday. I don't think he's doing this for me. I think his birthday is coming up, but he's renting out a movie theater and inviting some people down. And I was like, man, I've never seen the Garbage Pail Kids movie. And I was like, I even think it was the first time I saw a commercial for a film. Like, because I collected Garbage Pail Kids. I was part of the audience.
Oh, yeah.
But I think I saw the commercial for the movie, and I was just like, I'm out. That looks like trash. I don't need to do
that. Wait a sec. Tim, super fan. Still have unopened packages from my own collection of Garbage Pail Kids. Oh. As far as the movie, it's worth watching once.
Okay.
Once. See?
Such the restraint from a child to not open Garbage Pail Kids. Like, what if
Tim's special?
Oh, okay.
Tim has his own thing. He's big in the game shows. He's at his own game show. He comes out and he does his own thing. I always tell people, check out Tim's game show stuff. We did a whole show about like famous game shows and different game show stuff.
Oh yeah, I listened to part of that. That was the recent one, right?
Yeah, it was pretty recent. That was there's so much stuff game show wise out there when you really start digging into the history of them, where you're like, this shit's out of control. Yep. So his family had a grocery store. They had a bunch, they purchased. I remember just like Garbage Pail Kids were one of those things as a kid.
Wait, he grew up in a grocery store?
Yeah.
Wow. The food he must have had.
I don't know. Tim's built like you and me, so I don't know. Tim will have to tell me if it was like, well, have you ever heard of Big Y grocery stores?
No, never.
So if you go out to like Massachusetts and around those areas, Big Y is the grocery store chain out there. It's a Damore family. I knew nothing about grocery stores. So I'm in the Marine Corps, and one of I big out here in upstate. I don't even know if you guys have them down there in the city. Do you have Price Chopper in the city?
Doesn't sound familiar, no. But this is a fun game to play in New York, because so many people who live in New York City aren't from here. So if you're ever in a big group of people, you just ask them what the name of their grocery store was growing up. And I don't know why it's so fun, but everything sounds so unbelievable and fake. Like, really? You grew up, Beaky's was the name of your grocery store? It sounds fake. We had friends growing up who lived in Michigan, and we would go there, and my dad was just like, Beaky's? Why the fuck is it called Beaky's? I don't know. Like, grocery stores are fascinating.
I agree.
How come there are restaurant chains? How come there are Taco Bells all across the country? But it's like, how come every region has their own weird, different grocery store?
I can answer that question.
Oh, okay. I can't wait.
Shawn, from Shawn to Shawn, the Shawn and Shawn Show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Shawn and Shawn Show, where we answer your questions about bullshit you never thought you actually cared about. So,
I care about this. I'm interested.
So, again, the Damore family, Colin Damore was my captain in the Marine Corps. So his family owns the Big Y grocery store chain. So Colin says, we had this whole thing going on, and one day Colin says to me something. I'm like, yeah, Price Chopper is, sponsoring us for 4th of July. We're going to be able to go watch the fireworks at the Price Chopper spot.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, the Gullop family. I looked back at him, and he's a captain. I'm a gunnery sergeant in the Marine Corps. He's a captain. He's like 12 at the time. I looked at him and went, the who? He goes, that's the Gullop family. I was like, sir, I don't know anything about these people. Yeah, he goes, no, that's the people who own it. I was like, how the hell do you know the people that own it? Well, he proceeds to tell me that his family owns this grocery store chain. They own like 50 some grocery stores between like Massachusetts and Connecticut or something like that. They're being the people that we are in the Marine Corps. So we went and Googled them. They're like the 350th richest family in America. We're like, who the fuck? He's like telling us stories about his grandfather bought a church. Like, they're French. His grandfather like bought a church and put it on his property because he wanted it.
Wow.
Like, they're wild. So I was like, we got into it, and I was like, so why is these grocery stores the way they are? Because we ended up getting some grocery store chain from New Jersey that came up into the Albany area. And now, see, are you married, Shawn?
No.
See, this is why my wife rocks.
Recently dumped.
This is why my wife rocks.
Oh yeah, nice. Oh, nice.
My Telemardu is out. We're out of Telemardu, which is what makes the show go so much better. Telemardu. Oh, yeah. It's for you and me. I don't know. Someday there'll be a sponsor. I'll try.
You should get an Albany beer. Is there an Albany like microbrew that?
Dude, like beer up here is like, I've never had better beer. So I see you're drinking the champagne of beers.
I am, yeah.
You've got the champagne. But let me finish because this is a great story. So he told me that these grocery stores actually have handshake deals to not go into each other's territories. Like Wegmans is a New York chain. There's no Wegmans in Albany. There's Wegmans in Pennsylvania, but it's because the Demore family and whoever owns Wegmans have kind of shook hands and said, you stay there, we'll stay here. We're not coming there, you don't come here kind of thing. So it's like a real like mob style thing about like, listen here, don't bring your grocery store into my territory. Yeah, it's like a real deal.
Yeah.
Like these people are like legit into this whole thing. But that's why, when you talk about, like, I grew up with Giant in Baltimore. That was our grocery store, was Giant.
We had Giant Eagle, and we had Finest, and we had Stop and Shop.
I've heard of Stop and Shop.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what the first grocery store chain in America was?
No.
In the world, really. The first in the world. Piggly Wiggly.
Oh, I could have guessed.
And I learned that by recently watching a show called Beards and Motorcycles or some shit like that. It was a food cooking show. I love cooking shows.
Yeah, yeah. Tim just said, or he said a while ago, Shawn is a grocery expert, which is very generous of him. Yes. But I had an idea recently, and this goes good with our recent sort of game show conversation. And your previous guest who was doing a lot of game shows. I love, and during lockdown, I found a lot of old TV shows. I found a bunch of old episodes of Supermarket Sweep that I love.
Great show.
That show. But in rewatching the old episodes, it really feels like a game show out of like communist Russia. It's like win the food. It's like, and I noticed the weird thing that I noticed is that like nobody knows how to run in that show. Like people get so freaked out and like they don't they like panic, and it's so weird. Like why do you go on the show and not realize that you should maybe exercise beforehand? I don't know. It's very weird. But a recent brainstorm I had about Supermarket Sweep. I've had a lot of time on my hands. I live alone now.
I'm about to say you were recently dumped. You live alone. Let's go ahead and keep. Today on the Above the Bar podcast, we talk about Shawn and his problems.
It was a mutual dumping, I guess. I don't know.
How do you? Wait a sec. What, Tim? What the hell you mean? He's riding my fucking mind.
I don't know. You might have Tim out the next episode, and he can describe to you what he's been going through while watching this. But anyway, here is my brainstorm. I'm thinking about Supermarket Sweep. I don't. I've only played Dungeons and Dragons twice in my life.
What?
But I would love for there to be like some sort of Supermarket Sweep Dungeons and Dragons like that. I would love to play something like that. Some sort of dungeon where it's like you have to answer trivia and then run over here and get these items. I don't know. It just feels like a match made in heaven. Supermarket D&D.
So here's the deal.
Yeah.
So I make a lot of great shows on my show that will never come to fruition. Never.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So here's the next great one. So if you, I know a great DM.
Okay.
And for those of you that aren't dorks like us, that's a dungeon master. I know one, but I don't know if he would do it because he's probably running about 10 campaigns right now.
Yeah.
What he needs to do is get like, and again, another Navy guy.
Yeah.
What we need to do then is grab a bunch of us that are, have like played like a handful of times and thought that it was interesting, and we can just do an entire show on a campaign.
Oh yeah, that sounds fun.
So I'm down with that. A bunch of us who have no business. And we'll write down character sheets. My son tried to get me to do a character sheet recently. He's like, Dad, let's check out this website. You could do a character sheet. I'm like, all right. And I had like this great thing, and I was like, this is awesome. And he looks at it and he goes, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you didn't do this. And I'm like, well, damn kid, fuck you too. Mm-hmm. This was the 17-year-old. As you know, he's 17. I'm an asshole. I get nothing out of the deal. Like I'm just a dick face.
Right.
I know nothing at this point. So, Shawn, I wanted to get into this, and we've talked a lot about bad movies.
Okay,
But I wanted to get into, because I think this is such a great title that you have.
Yeah. Thank you.
The best 10 minutes of my life.
Yes. Tell
folks what that's about.
So
I don't want to miss this. All right, yes. That was great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm a stand-up comedian. I don't even know if we've talked about that, but yeah, I'm a stand-up.
We mentioned it at the beginning, but we just talked about bad movies the whole time.
That's right. So I'm a comedian, and I also run a film festival and all this other stuff. But while the pandemic was going on, I was spending time doing creative stuff, but I wasn't really writing jokes. It was just like my mind wasn't in a place. I wasn't performing live. I did I've done one live show. Well,
that's it.
So I was in Mississippi for a few months when this all started. I did one live show down there. Once I got back to New York, I've done 4 or 5 in Brooklyn. But anyway, I was just not in the mindset of writing. Things weren't funny to me. And, I was just like in survival mode. And then one Friday night in October, I was at home listening to music. I was a little stoned. I'll share that as well.
You smoke marijuana?
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, because you almost have a show called the Stoner Morning Show.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other thing. Yeah, so it's the Stoner Morning Show. It's just stoners trying to get through a talk show. It's a lot of fun. But I was just home on a Friday night. I was a little stoned, listening to music, and I must have been in the right receptive state because, and I've talked about this with other comedian friends. I was just like, I've said, do you know the joy of just thinking of a joke? Just like a joke pops in your head. And it's a great feeling to just not really try to write jokes, just have a joke pop in your head. But like this was a 10-minute set that popped in my head. And I was sitting at home listening to music. Good night.
Yeah, that's the 11-year-old going to bed. For those of you who aren't watching live, I just blew a kiss to my 11-year-old who's going to bed.
Which I'll say, kudos to you by just not even saying their names. It's just easier to say their age, I'm sure.
It really is.
Yeah. It's probably just easier.
Yeah. There's fucking 8 of them. Do you know what that's like to remember 8 names? I have 3 grandchildren, and then, well, really, technically, if you want to get into it, I have 5 grandchildren.
Oh, yeah.
You know what that's like come fucking birthday time? My paycheck's for birthdays, but I don't mean to blow off the 10 minutes. So,
no.
Great 10-minute set in your head.
So, in my mind, I came up with a great 10-minute set, and I started bragging on Facebook that I came up with the most incredible set of my life. I was like, I can't believe how well it all fits together, And I had a show coming up, and I started telling people, I was like, you are going to want to see the best 10 minutes of my life. This is an incredible set. And some people didn't believe me, of course, because I run something called the Bad Film Fest. It's very publicity stunt sounding. People thought it was a prank. And I was like, this is really good. And I was booked at an outdoor show in Brooklyn, and it rained. It got canceled, and I was like, I can't believe
fucking 10 minutes. That's all I needed.
So I did it the next week, and friends of mine, called bullshit on this, but I didn't rehearse it. I mean, I rehearsed it at home, but I didn't. Stand-up comedians will usually try jokes out, to see if they work. I was like, This is 10 minutes. This is the first time it's ever been done, and it killed. It did great. Another comedian came up to me afterwards and was like, wow, that was incredible. I was like, that was the first time I did that set. He was like, bullshit. I was like, I'm telling you, that was it felt magical, So, I mean, like the best 10 minutes of my life, it describes the material. It's 10-ish minutes that it's really good. It also describes just like the joy of having great ideas come into my head in a moment when I was like, I wasn't trying to come up with ideas, you know?
I get that.
Yeah.
It's a Shawan thing. It's a Shawan thing. And I'll give that away because as somebody who will never, and I promise you, never do a stand-up set.
Yes.
You can use Shawan instead of scene. That's
That's
how I describe myself when people are like, "How do you spell your name?" I'm like, "It's Shawan, not scene." And instantaneously they know what I'm talking about. But that's so cool. Like, bro, I get that. Like, I have ideas and I'm like, I want to get this out there. But to have that type of medium where you got the reception that you got, what was that like to be able to like, where people were like coming up to you afterwards, be like, that was incredible.
It was good. And it was, it was an outdoor show in Brooklyn. And I think there were like maybe 40 people there. And I'll be honest that I was like, there's not enough people here for this. I was like,
for being honest.
And then when, and it's Wickens, just to
fucking. You know what? Let me fucking fix it. This is the second time you've had to fix me for spelling your name wrong. Look, it's Wickens like a fucking witch. He's a witch. He's part fucking witch.
Right.
Where is our girl when we need her right now? There we go. I fixed it.
Beautiful.
It's only been going across the screen for the last 45 minutes.
I just noticed.
This is the first time he's looked.
I'm not telling down, but so anyway, the joy of it, of performing it live, it didn't last because we're not doing outdoor shows in December and January, and I was kind of bummed out. I was unable to share it, so I started telling friends. I was like, "Hey, you missed my best 10 minutes. I'm going to do it on like a Zoom show." So I did it. I hyped it up. I was like, I'm going to do it 5 times in one night. Yeah. And I sold tickets, people watched, and then I recorded each performance. I picked my favorite one, and then I just released it to Spotify as like a 10-minute mini album. And, this is kind of incredible. So friends of mine have been saying like, "Oh, you've really been hyping this up." And I was like, I don't care. I'm so proud of it. I think it's so great. It only came out yesterday. I've already been asked by an MIT researcher he's going to interview me about comedy and specifically this 10-minute set.
Wait a sec. So okay. Now, normally this show is supposed to only go an hour, but what does an MIT researcher want to know about your comedy? Like that, Shawn, that's incredible to me.
Yeah. It's not really, he's not really doing it just about me. I think he's definitely interviewing a few people. I really don't know the specifics of it, but he was just like, I want to talk to you about comedy. I want to talk to you about this. We're talking on Monday. I have an interview with him on Monday. So I started telling people that I was like, this 10-minute set is so good. I want it to someday be played on the International Space Station. I want this to be heard in space.
Oh, yeah. On the album?
Yeah. Oh, sure.
It's got to be on an album.
I just want an astronaut on the space station to hear this material while they're in space.
Now, if I wanted to hear this material, where can I find it?
It's on Spotify or YouTube, or if you go to my website, there's links to it on my website.
And folks, it is Shawn, SHAWN, Wickens, WICKENS.com. Look Shawn up. First off, from a Shawn to a Shawn, because I don't have my glasses on.
Yeah,
we might be related. I'm not sure. Our beards do look a lot alike.
You know what? My mother did grow up in Binghamton.
Mine grew up in Baltimore, so I don't think that's the same.
Okay, well then we came through Canada.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And Dad's from Baltimore too, so I don't know. Right. Did your mom? We did just look completely sidebar. We did think we might have found another long lost uncle or aunt. 23andMe has been a fucking disaster for my family. That's a whole show in and of itself.
I haven't done it yet, but maybe someday.
We've figured out that my mom so far is the only one whose father is the one that she thought was her father. And
Oh,
that
wow.
all of her brothers and sisters are half. And then on my dad's side, Christmas of 2019, my cousin Jerry hit me up and was like, "Hey man, we got an extra aunt." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, we got an extra aunt." And there's a whole story to that. And then there's this whole extra thing where this girl the other day hit me up and was like, 23andMe says that we're first cousins, but I've heard sometimes it's wrong. I'm like, "You don't know our grandfather. He was a
Wow.
whore."
Right.
Our grandfather used to sit at the mall and watch he retired. He was a bread man. Like he delivered bread to people's house and he was all about delivering the loaf.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. My grandfather, he was trying to swing a rut anytime he could.
Right.
But the story, my mother used to tell the story that when my grandfather died, there was more women crying at his funeral that no one knew than they actually knew. Yeah, like
there should be a book about this man.
yeah, my grandfather was like quite the man whore.
Yeah.
He was different, but this is the same man I can remember as a small child. I was probably like 5 or 6 years old, no older than that.
Yeah.
And my aunt and uncle had this great house. To this day, my aunt still lives there. It's Rumsey Island in Maryland. If you know anything about Maryland, it's like every house, the backyard has a deck to it into the water, goes out to the Chesapeake Bay. It's amazing.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like and when they bought it, it was like one of these kind of things, like nobody wanted to live up in that area.
Right.
But I can still remember being a little guy and my grandma, who was the Sicilian one, took me down to the water and took a little pinch of bread and put it on the tip of a fishing rod and had me put it in the water and the fish, like little sunnies coming up and eating it off. And look, I'm fucking 5, 6 years old. This is the greatest thing in the world to me. And my grandmother's right next to me, and my grandfather, who had just bought me a golf set. I've golfed a handful of times in my entire life, walks by and looks at my grandmother and goes, "If that boy falls in the water, I ain't getting him." And looks at him and goes, "I don't care. I'll get him." This was my grandparents. Yeah. So when you talk about these things, it sparks these wonderful memories.
Yeah.
I have some of my shit's fucked up like polio.
Yeah. Families, where would we be without them?
Oh God, without therapy, I wouldn't have, there'd be no need for therapy. So, all right, Shawn, we're going to get ready. We're going to wrap this up, folks. We got to close the bar. It's closing time at the bar here. Shawn, when we do the closing, because you were right there at the last second, I didn't get to tell you, please, when I do my closing segment here, don't leave. We have to talk. We always have the post show segment.
Definitely.
We got to talk, as the host and the talent, we have our post show segment. Really what that is, folks, is I've gotten my buzz about that point in time and I can have a conversation with somebody else who hopefully has theirs at that time. Folks want to find you, Shawn. Where are all the wonderful places they can find you?
So definitely ShawnWickens.com. They can check out Stoner Morning Show, which is me and 3 friends. We do a live streaming show every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon. And it's just, stoner comedians trying their best to do a talk show. We have a lot of fun guests on.
Now, is everybody a comedian?
Interestingly enough, not everyone is a stoner and not everyone is a comedian. We have one guy on there who doesn't smoke, but he's a stoner at heart. And then we have one guy who previous to this show had never performed, never been on stage, but he is the biggest stoner and he's a good friend and we love him. So it's sort of like we all fit well together, it started out as a live show and we couldn't do live shows. We were supposed to be in Ithaca, New York last year, but we couldn't. So now we're a live.
Oh, wait a sec.
Yeah.
Wait a sec. You said Ithaca?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's Ethico Brewing Company. Drinking a little flower power tonight from Ethico Brewing Company.
The worst
sour beer I've ever had.
We were supposed to do a comedy festival up near there last year, and it was the first thing that got canceled because of COVID stuff. But you should have on our friend Kenneth McLaurin. He's a Ithaca comedian. He's
well, when this is all done, you introduce me to Kenneth, and then Kenneth can come on, and we will have Kenneth, and then we'll figure out the other two people because I saw the folks on the Stoner Morning Show. We'll figure out the other two folks, and before it's all over, the entire Stoner Morning Show. And if you let me know what it is, and I can figure out my time hacks because I still work for my other real job that pays bills. We don't say their name because someday they'll figure out that I'm here and it's not 120 downloads. And
smart.
Someday somebody will be like, "You talk shit on us, didn't you?" And I'll be like, "I don't know what you're talking about." But so we can find you on Spotify. Just looked up the name, folks. It's Shawn, S-H-A-W-N, Shawn Wickens.
That's right. We got it.
Wickens. Make sure you check Shawn out. Anyone by the name of Shawn, you just have to check him out. It's well worth your while. At some point, we were going to get his 23andMe done. We're going to post that live. The 23andMe will go through the entire conversation. Make sure you check Shawn out. You've got the Stoner Morning Show. Check him out on Spotify. The 10 minutes on Spotify. Tim's got one last comment here. What has Tim got? I'm checking out the Stoner Morning Show. Another great guest, Shawn. That would be me. And you did get 2. Yep.
Yeah, all right, 2. Yeah.
So, definitely check him out. You do. I have to tell you, and I can't think of his name. There's another comedian you do look like. It's the guy who he always wears different hats, though.
A guy with different hats.
He was on 30 Rock. He was on 30 Rock.
I wear different hats.
Wait a sec. But he was on 30 Rock. Were you on 30 Rock?
I wasn't on 30 Rock, no.
Yeah, see, there was a guy who was on 30 Rock who used to wear different hats.
Oh, Judah Friedlander.
Is that his name?
Judah Friedlander, yeah. He's funny.
It's Frank Rosentinos.
That was his character name, yeah.
Oh, was that his character name?
Yeah.
That's what you remind me of.
Yeah. He's a world champion, Judah Friedlander. He's great. He's got a special that came out on Netflix within the last 2 years that's really good.
I have to check it out. There's so many things, there's so many different things we could talk about, Shawn, and maybe eventually. I am still auditioning for co-host. My normal co-host, he just had a baby, so we got to shout that out real quick. Rick, who is my pop-in co-host, congratulations on naming his kid one of the greatest names ever, Riker Lee.
Oh, that is good.
It's a phenomenal name. I've named a lot of children in my life. Riker Lee, because he's a big Star Trek guy. So he named his son Riker Lee. Rick, congratulations. We all love you, brother. Congratulations on that. Again, for our stuff, folks, you can find us on Instagram at that's that little A symbol, above the bar podcast. You have our Twitter, above the bar 4. Our email is the above the bar podcast. See, I've drank a fucking ton tonight. Didn't realize it. Good God. And I don't smoke. I'd lose my job. If that shit was legal, I'd be in bad shape. Email is the above the bar podcast at gmail.com. And we do have a TikTok, which is and we have a new one. Have you checked out Nycc yet? Likee. That's another one. It's like a cross between like Instagram and TikTok, and you can post videos. It's called Nycc, and people can give you money and shit like that. So I'm all about people giving me money.
I like that.
We have that too, and that one is above the bar pod because it wasn't enough letters to be podcast. So please, folks, always, as a reminder, please check us out. We're on all the major platforms. We're on all the different stuff that you want. Please check out the Earplug Network, where you can find Grindhouse, where you can find Random Shit, Random Guy. You can find DW's Daily Show Tuesday through Friday. Check us out. Take a look at all the different shows that are on the network. And then we always have the shit that you guys don't buy, which is my stuff. TeePublic. Go on to TeePublic and check out the Above the Bar podcast. There's the 2 different styles of shirts, and then tons and tons of stuff. You can get phone cases because, look, you do understand. Remember, I told you folks, there's 8 freaking kids I have to feed these people. Please take your time. Shawn, you get the last word in here, brother.
Oh, geez. I want everyone to give Shawn a not so hard of a time on Green Lantern. Just let him have his joy.
Have my joy. All righty, folks, be sure to push your stool in.
This has been an Earplug Podcast presentation. Found on earplugpodcast.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and wherever your favorite podcasts are found.